We are back. This is Urban Influencer Radio, and I am Savannah. Thanks so much for listening, guys. I appreciate your ears. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Links are below. This week's show will include interviews with Shana Mangatal, a very close and personal acquaintance of the king of pop, Michael Jackson himself. Her book, Michael and Me, is out. Make sure to check it out to get some more insight. As well as Erin Stevenson, a recent soul breakout artist. She has gone from singing backup for Janet Jackson and many more to pursuing a solo music career. I am so happy to have both of them on the show. But before we get started, here is a track by Via. She's a talented, up-and-coming artist. This is Lie. Was Lie by Via. I'm happy to welcome Shana Mangatal to the show.
The interview, this is Urban Influencer Radio. I am Savannah. So, Shana, how did you meet Michael Jackson?
The very first time I met him was in 1988. I'm from the Washington, D.C. area, and I was a senior in high school, and Michael was on his bad tour, and my aunt drove me to New York City to see him on his bad tour. We got tickets. It was really exciting. This was like in the middle of Michael mania when, Michael was everywhere, and it was a magical feeling just to have him in your town. So this was a very exciting moment for me as a 17-year-old to go see him in concert.
I bet.
And yeah, it was. So somehow, to make a long story short, I managed to get into his hotel suite. He was holding an after party for the concert that he had. And I charmed my way in. I wrote all about it in my book. It's the first chapter, and it's really great. I really encourage you to read it because I go into detail about this party. It was an amazing party in his room. Janet was there, Quincy Jones was there, Sugar Ray Leonard, just all of these A-list celebrities of the 80s. And here I am, this young senior in high school, surrounded by all of these icons,
Yeah.
And then there's Michael. So I spot Michael, he spots me, and just the whole night, I could tell he was just hoping I would come over and say something to him, but I was so shy. And then eventually he turned to me and he introduced himself to me and said, "Hi, I'm Michael." I was like, no kidding, I know you're Michael. I didn't say that, but so yeah, he introduced himself to me. I shook his hand, and then when I tried to let go of his hand, he kept holding on to my hand. He slid his hand all the way down mine, and that was the beginning of it all. I was like, oh my God, Michael Jackson is flirting with me. I'm about to die.
Wow. Yeah, well, my next question was going to be, what was your first encounter like? But, that's how
it, Yeah, that was, at that point, as a 17-year-old, I was just a fan. So that was sort of just me meeting my idol type of moment. But then after that, I moved to L.A. a couple years later. And by the grace of God, I got a job working for Michael's manager. And it was it was the biggest management company of the 90s. They had everyone. It wasn't just Michael. They had Martin Lawrence, Nicole Kidman, Renee Zellweger, Neil Diamond, Dolly Parton, all kinds of wonderful entertainers. But Michael, of course, was their biggest client. And here I am, this young girl from Washington, D.C. I'm sitting right there in the middle of it all, and in the middle of the madness, which was the music industry of the 90s and the entertainment industry in general. And that's how Michael and I bonded and became friends, because I was the receptionist for his manager.
Okay. So when, he realized that you were starting to work for his manager, how did he react to that?
Well, in all of the years that I knew him, I never mentioned that first encounter in New York. I was just so embarrassed, because I didn't want him to think I was, someone crazy, because the way I got into the party, I didn't tell this part, but I climbed 52 flights of stairs or something like that just to get up to his the floor of his room. But it's all in the book. You have to read it. It's kind of funny. When you're a teenager, you do crazy stuff like that.
At 17, that's just, that's wild.
Right. So when I got a little older, I was a little bit embarrassed by that. So I never told him. But from the moment we met again there at the management company, there were instant sparks. Once again, he just, I don't know, somehow we just connected and bonded, and we were always flirting with each other, or he was flirting with me because I was really, really shy back then. And so he sort of took that lead. But I think the way it really started is he was performing a lot on the award shows and places like that because his Dangerous album had just been released. And I think he was on the American Music Awards and this other MTV special. And after he performed on there, or on all of the shows actually, I would always tell him the next day on the phone that he was amazing and how great he was. And that was really how we started to bond, because he loved hearing that from me. And I didn't think someone of his, his superstar caliber would even want to talk to me, the receptionist. But after the first time when I told him how great he was, and I saw his reaction, which was really one of, he was just so grateful and thankful that I enjoyed his performances and that, I loved what he did. And that sort of, I guess, connected him to me even more so. So that's really how it started.
Wow. So, I mean, how long did you know him, and at what point did you realize that you had, that bond was taken to, the next level where you, I guess, and him had, romantic feelings?
Well, I'd say after about a year of talking on the phone at the management company, he finally came into the office, and that's when we saw each other face to face again, and it sort of escalated from there. He started calling. I mean, he was already calling 3 or 4 times a day, and so we had really bonded by that point. By the time we had met, we already were pretty much bonded over the phone. But then he started calling. One time he called and he asked me to if he could dictate the song to me. And I was like, okay. And this was very out of the blue because I wasn't a secretary. I just answered the phones. I didn't take dictation or anything like that.
Yeah.
But, back in those days, we didn't have computers or anything like that. All we had were typewriters. So
wow.
Someone dictating, yeah, you're probably too young to even know anything about this, but there was a point in time. There was a point in time when computers didn't exist. So yeah, at my desk at the management company, I had a typewriter, and that's it. You had to sit and read books all day. Mm-hmm. But anyway, he called and he dictated the song to me, and it was like a sexy song, and so that was sort of when I started getting the impression that, there was a little bit more than friendship here in his mind, because he dictated this sexy song to me, and then he asked me to read it back to him. And it was just, it was a little more than song dictation going on there. So that was my first indication. And that's in the book as well. I wrote all about that. The great thing about the book is that it comes straight from my diaries, and I started writing I don't think I could have written a book without having the diaries to refer to, because you forget a lot of things 30 years ago, but I was a very prolific diary taker, so I jotted down notes anytime we had an encounter, anytime we had phone conversations. I'd write down the conversations verbatim, and that's what you get in the book. You get these conversations that are detailed and exactly what he said, exactly what I said, what he smelled like, what my eyes saw. So I think a lot of
reading it, you feel like you're there, it sounds like.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people who read it, they say that, and that makes me feel so good, because that was what I wanted the reader to feel. I wanted them to feel my feelings and to see what I saw, because it really was an exciting time.
Mhm. So when you first decided to write the book, were you hesitant to put your story out in the open in that way?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Putting aside the fact that it's Michael Jackson and he has a lot of dedicated fans that are very passionate about him and they care about him, and a lot of them are very sensitive, and so I didn't want to reveal things about him that would upset his fans or his family. So you have to think about that. But aside from all of that, this is my life I'm writing about. So I'm revealing things that many of my closest friends didn't know. I'm printing things that are in my diary that have never been shared before. So that it really does take a lot of guts and strength to put yourself out there like that. And I wasn't a writer before I wrote this, so this was just, it was a whole new experience for me, but it was something that I felt would be cathartic, and I needed to do it just to be able to move on to another space in life, because after he passed away, it was very difficult for me, and I didn't know how I would be able to move on. And writing this book sort of, finally I was able to tell the world.
It closed the chapter, it sounds like.
Exactly.
Wow. Yeah, no, I mean, that's crazy. And I mean, I'm sure, yeah, with, somebody being so close to you, no, I mean, regardless of who it was and losing them, that's that's just difficult in any situation. But how has your life changed since Michael and Me has been out?
It's been crazy. It's been out for about a year, and I've had some wonderful responses from people and fans all over the world, and that makes me feel so good to read all of the letters that I receive and emails and messages from people just in all corners of the world. But on the other hand, there's also been a lot of hate and haters, because as I said before, Michael has a lot of fans who are very passionate and feel connected to him in some way, and they feel like they need to protect him, I guess, is what they believe they're doing.
Yeah.
But they can be very nasty, and it's been very difficult dealing with that side of things. I expected, some sort of hate, but not to this degree. I get death threats.
Wow.
Bullied all the time. There are hate pages dedicated to me on social media, and I don't get it, because I wrote a very positive book about Michael. I always defend him. I love him. I always will, and so I just don't understand why I would get this kind of reaction from some of the fans. It's a few, but it's not a lot. But even one hurtful comment can really make you sad and ruin your day.
Oh, no, completely. I mean, it's like, and, that's why I was going to ask, what were the reactions that you were getting, just because, I mean, I know exactly how social media works, and, you put your story, out on the line, and, of course, you're not going to have, positive reactions from everybody. And, I mean, of course, that's, really hard to take in. But, I mean, I'm glad that you are getting positive feedback and people are enjoying the story, and they get to read about this side of him, and that's the awesome part of it all.
Thank you. Yeah, my goal was to allow his fans to see him in a way they never had before, and it's a side of him that he never revealed to too many people. The people who really knew him knew this side of him, but his fans really didn't. The public really don't. They still don't, unless you read the book. But this was who he really was. This book humanizes him. It makes you stop thinking of him as Michael, the king of pop, and you start thinking of him as Michael, the human being, Michael, the man, the man who I was wildly attracted to. It really brings him down to earth, and I honestly think you will love him even more after you read this book. If you're a fan and you love him to death, you're going to love him more after you read the book. My hope is that even the haters at least pick up the book and read it, and at least you will have, learned something about the man that you idolize. You will have learned something that perhaps you never would know if you hadn't read the book. So that's my wish for his fans. And that's one of the reasons I wrote the book, just to show the world who he really was.
Yeah, and use your voice to do it.
Yes,
definitely.
Exactly.
So, with the book being out and everything, so what are you doing now? Are you working on any more projects regarding the book?
Yeah, definitely. I'm always open to projects regarding the book. I'm working on a couple that are secret. I can't say what they are yet, but the great thing about a book is that it will last forever. So there's always going to be opportunities in regards to it. My mission is just to get it out to as many people as I can. I want people to know this side of Michael. I want them to think of him as a human being and not this, crazy image that they see in the tabloids, because people really do have a misconception about who he was. And the further away it gets from when he passed away, it gets worse. It's almost like he has become a myth. The things that I read about him in magazines or see on TV, that's not the guy that I knew, That wasn't Michael. So I just hope people will read the book and find out that he was just a normal guy with normal feelings, normal desires, and I think Michael would really love that too, for people to look at him as a person and not that wacko jacko crazy image that they're trying to portray him as.
Definitely.
He was just a guy. He was just a man, a very talented man, but
Yeah, well, we'll have to check out your book. So, now talking to you and, get the full scoop.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shana, for being on the show. We really appreciate you, sharing your story.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll follow up with an email, but thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Okay, I've had fun. Thanks for talking to me.
Yeah, of course. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
This next track is by Christian Kuya. It's called Numbers.
She keep on calling from these numbers that I can't recall. I know you tell me that you love me, but I don't feel that shit at all. I guess the Henny got me numb, but the drugs got my mind right. I guess the Henny got me numb, but the drugs got my mind right. So if you try to call through, yo man, he ain't gotta know about it. So if you try to pull up on me, you know he ain't gotta know. So if you try to call through, yo man, he ain't gotta know about it. So if you try to pull up on me, you know he ain't gotta know. So if you try to go through, just pull it up on me. You know I share my location, pull it up on me. And other bitches wanna kick it, but I want you. And baby, we can take it further if you want to. You know I'm fucking with your vibe, that's a long way. Say you ain't gotta take my compliments the wrong way. You know my pockets on flex, by Molly at sex. Can't forget me now, I got you addicted. I can be your drug, baby. I say I can be your drug, baby. Yeah, I can be your drug, baby. I say I can be your drug, baby. She keep on calling from these numbers that I can't recall. I know you tell me that you love me, but I don't feel that shit at all. I guess the Henny got me numb, but the drugs got my mind right. I guess the Henny got me numb, but the drugs got my mind right. So if you try to call through, yo man, he ain't gotta know about it. So if you try to pull up on me, you know he ain't gotta know. So if you try to call through, yo man, he ain't gotta know about it. So if you try to pull up on me, you know he ain't gotta know. So if you try to go through, he ain't gotta know, baby. And I can be your drugs, baby. I can get you lost, baby. She keep on calling from these numbers that I can't recall. I know you tell me that you love me, but I don't feel that shit at all. I guess the Henny got me numb, but the drugs got my mind right. I guess the Henny got me numb, but the drugs got my mind right. So if you try to go through, yo man, he ain't gotta know about it. So if you tryna pull up on me, you know he ain't gotta know.
That was Numbers by Christian Kuya. Our second interview of the show is with breakout soul artist Aaron Stevenson.
Oh, all right. So we are Urban Influencer Radio, and this is Erin. Okay, so Erin, how long have you been singing?
I've been singing a long time, since I was maybe 5 years old. Is the earliest that I can really recall, like, singing for real. Because I used to be a clown, still am a little bit, but to actually be still and sing a song for real, I was about 5 years old. I was singing Whitney Houston, The Greatest Love of All. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Did you take any lessons or sing in choir, or was this just like something that, you know, you just did as like a hobby?
Well, I've always sung in church choir, of course, since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
My mom used to be the choir director for the angelic choir. But even before we started the angelic choir at church, like I said, I was always a clown, dancing and singing. And my family, I guess, saw something or knew that there was some kind of talent there, because they made me, like, be still and, like, sing a song. My Uncle Woodrow did. I'm from Texas, so in Louisiana, so my Uncle Woodrow made me be still and sing a song, and it turned out to be the Whitney Houston's Greatest Love of All. And I think that's when everyone really knew that I had some talent, including myself. But honestly, from that moment, I knew that I was going to sing for the rest of my life. So from there, of course, church choir, not really any other vocal training, just a gift and listening and studying and just trying to be the best version of me vocally that I can be. That's about it.
Wow. I mean, well, if you have it, you have it, you know? You can't fight it.
No, you can't. I've tried. Believe me.
So I know you spent, you know, a lot of time on tour. And so I want to know, what is both the best and the worst parts about touring?
Oh, okay. The best part is, girl, listen, I'm a 100 girl. So the best part is I get to travel the world on somebody else's dime and get to do what I love every day. So that is the absolute best part about it. I still get to live my dreams and somebody else pays for it. The worst part about it is that, you know, I've missed my family. I've missed some weddings from my best friends. I've missed a couple of funerals. I've missed some childbirths, and I'm a family-oriented type of person, and yeah, that's the part that sucks the most. But thankfully, I have family and friends who are real friends that understand my purpose and my calling, and I don't come from those type of friends and family that's like, oh well, you know, they try to throw in your face, or, you know, you missed the blah blah blah, so you blah blah blah. No, my friends and my family are the kind that are like, if you're here and if we see your face, we're like going to ship you out ourselves, or we're going to beat you up for even being here. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword. It comes with its fair share of sacrifices, although it's really glorious, but it still comes with its fair share of sacrifices.
Definitely. But I mean, at least you have the support, you know, that's what's important.
I do. I've lost some along the way. Don't let me fool you. But I do have the support. Oh, yeah.
So, you know, since we're on the subject of touring, could you share with our listeners who you've toured with and what has been, you know, what was your favorite experience touring, or it could be who you enjoyed touring with the most?
That's funny. That's what everybody always asks. So who was your favorite? I cannot do that because I need everybody I done worked for to support me in my endeavors. But
I can't say anybody specific.
Yeah. But I will say there have been some that were better than others, and some that I like better than others, and some that I will work for the rest of my life if my career were not to pan out the way that I plan on it panning out. There are some I would definitely work for. If they just called, I would pick up every time they called, and there are some I would never pick up for again. With that said, I have traveled the world with Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake, Duran, Pharrell, Jennifer Lopez, John Legend, I've sang for Rihanna. I've sang for, my goodness, a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I sang for Nicki Minaj. I've sang for, I forget. Yeah, I've been done old school. Yeah, Shaka Khan. I sang for her a time or two along the way. Stevie Wonder. I've been working, girl. That didn't come out right.
I know. Wow.
I'm a working girl. That doesn't sound right.
We know what you mean.
Thank you.
These are like huge names and, really successful artists that, you've been able to make these, tours with and experience a lot. So I want to know what made you want to make the shift in pursuing your music career as an individual in regards to, singing backup.
Well, me being a background singer was never my initial goal or focus. So, but with that being said, I can honestly say that I've been such a blessed girl. I have never had to sing, and I don't want to say this the wrong way either. I'm very cautious about that. I've never even had to sing for any like C-listers or D-listers. Like when I got in the game, and that in itself was a blessing, how I even got in the game as a background singer. It was nothing but blessing after blessing after blessing. But once again, that was a sacrifice for me too, which is, is another story. But that lets me know that this was just a path that was chosen for me. I knew that I was supposed to sing when, like I said earlier, when I was about 5 years old. I wanted to be a veterinarian. I'm pretty smart. I would like to think a little bit. But I used to work for NASA. But I knew that singing was my ultimate passion. I knew that that was my gift, and I had to use it in order to fulfill my life's purpose. And for me, even if that meant waiting a while, because when I was maybe like 16, 17, doing the whole solo thing, labels and A&Rs were like, her voice is too mature. The things she writes about are too mature. Her arrangements are too mature. So in hindsight 2020, for me personally, God saw fit to pave out a path for me to still do what I love, to still make money doing what I love, and to still create another avenue that was going to allow me to do me, but when the time was right. So in hindsight 2020, here I am years later. I can sing whatever I want to sing, how I want to sing it, write about what I want to write about, and be accepted for it without people like, oh, what she know about that? Blah, she's too young to be singing about that. So timing is everything. And quite honestly, too, I think there's no better time for it than now, because the type of music that I do is not really necessarily being pushed right now. It's real, melodically driven and auto-tune driven and mumble driven. And for me, I still want to sing. So, and I'm going to keep on singing. Yeah. So I just figured there's no better time than now to jump off that ledge again, jump out on faith, and land on my feet. And here we go. I'm jumping. I'm falling as I'm talking to you right now.
Yeah. So, yeah, I know you have been working on your album, and we're so excited. I've only heard, I think, like 3 tracks, so I'm excited to hear the rest. And so can you talk a little bit about your album and, I guess just share, like, what the music is like?
Yeah, every song is a life experience. I had my hands in it from the songwriting to some of the producing, the arranging, engineering my own sessions, all of the above. And that's just because I'm a hands-on person. And this is my first and my only album. I want to give everybody Erin. Yeah. Nothing else but Erin. So it's real, it's honest, it's vulnerable, it's fun. A lot of messages in my songs. I'd like to think that from my writing style, I always have something to say from a lesson that I've learned. Even if it's a very serious matter or a spiritual matter or a God matter or a Bible matter, I want you to have fun listening to it, because I think there are people who I need to reach. Or, like I said, once again, back to my purpose in life and through my music, there are people that I need to reach, or who I need to give some hope to or some inspiration or a life lesson to know that they ain't the only one. But I like to write in a fun way. So my music is very retro. I'm singing, and it's fun, and I hope everybody likes it, and I hope everybody gets something from it and that they leave inspired. But nonetheless, have some fun. So that's what my record is, my album.
Oh, No, and it is, from what I've heard. It's all fun. You know,
Cool.
It's a very feel-good album.
Yep.
We're excited about it. I mean, you kind of answered my next question. I was going to say, what message do you want to send, you know, to your listeners through your music? And you kind of touched a little bit on it. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, man, to fall in love with yourself. I mean, and for me, it was a journey to fall in love with myself. And sometimes people be thinking that I just got it all together. I don't. I just fall in love with myself more and more every day. And I don't say that from a cocky or a conceited manner, but I don't believe it's just like being on an airplane, right? They tell you to save yourself before you can save anybody else.
Yeah.
So I personally just think through all of life's trials, you've got to find yourself in the midst of it all. And I don't think you can overcome anything until you can conquer yourself. And I mean that in the best way possible. And nobody's perfect, including myself. But from love, from relationships, to life, to people putting you down, just I can go through the whole list. You got to find the core of yourself in the midst of it all to conquer anything else. So that's really what my message is.
No,
and damn anybody else who doesn't care about anything other than you. Meaning, you know, if you ain't with this train, jump on another one, and life's still gonna keep on moving.
Exactly. No, those are definitely words to live by, and I think that that's a great, you know, important message to send. And I'm sure that, you know, everyone's going to, you know, receive that message in the most positive possible way, especially because, you know. But we are.
I mean it.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, I mean every word I say, girl, because I have a story. I mean, even, like I said, even in conquering myself, and I still do it every day. So, I mean every word I'm saying.
Totally. Erin, we are going to be sharing some of your music on the show.
Cool.
Yeah, so our listeners will get a little feel of, you know, what you're putting out. And to wrap up the interview, if you want, you can go ahead and mention a song that you prefer to be played.
Yeah. Okay. Of course, there's Naked, there's Hanging, and how about, Juicy. I forgot about my Juicy. Yeah, play Juicy.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much,
That
Erin.
song sums me up.
Oh. Okay,
Yeah.
we will definitely be playing that one on the show. I wanted to thank you so much for joining me today, and, you know, it's great being able to chat with you and see, you know, what you're doing. So, like we said, it's been a while, and I'm really excited for your new stuff.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Thanks for talking with me.
Yeah.
And, man, anytime.
Of course. Well, we will follow up with an email, and just make sure to check out the podcast. We'll be playing your stuff.
Okay. Sure thing.
Hey, we got to make him dance. So let's do it. What? Let's get it.
Ladies, bounce that thing. Show the fellas what you working with. And fellas, then rough your cup so that chick know that you the shit. I work hard and give my all, I'm exhausted. Don't leave my home unless my Facebook flawless. Too short, too tall, too tough. I think about adding up. And I forgot that my life was mine. And I forgot being me was just fine. So tonight, I'm reclaiming my time. Killing everything inside. Oh, tonight I'm setting everything on fire. Tonight I'm the object of my desire. Tonight I let go and come undone, and I give none. You can call me juicy, squeeze me, dripping chocolate loving, luscious. Baby, don't judge my juicy, oozing sweet sugar coated goodness. Every bit of mine, living every drop of mine. Juicy. Suck it up, push 'em up, put your shoulders back, have a six pack and a big butt. Too young, too old, too fat, too small, too thin, not thick enough. Find a rich man with money, then your life will be like honey. Oh, I don't wanna think about love, a girl just wanna have some fun. Oh, tonight I'm
That was Juicy by Aaron Stevenson. We can't wait for her newest project to be out. We are wrapping up this week's show. Sorry, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Keep following us on socials. Links are below. I am Savannah, and this is Urban Influencer Radio. Stay cozy and much love, guys.